All right, what we have here is a 1970 U302 Super gasoline. I know it doesn't look the best. This one came out of Pennsylvania. The original dealership that was on the tin work is Longnecker Supply. What makes this 302 a little bit different for the 1970 models is the number right there. This is the very first gasoline 302 made in 70, the last 109 gas ones. So I found this one. It's not running. Person I bought it from, it was their stepfather's. He loved this tractor, he said, and he had passed away back around Christmas time, unfortunately. And this had been sitting outside for a while, and so they decided they were going to sell it. So I was able to buy it, which, if any of you've been watching, you know how much I have an affinity for 1970 U302s. And when I found out it was the first one made in 70, obviously it piqued my interest and made me take 2 trips over there to get it, since the first time I went, the rear end was frozen solid because the gear shift boot was cracked and the rear end was locked up. So what makes a 1970 different from the other years of 302s is they put on the true flat top fenders, where it's a true flat, it's not a little bit of a crown. They had a different seat on it, although much of the original seat is gone off of this tractor. I'm gonna have to find the top of the Milsco suspension seat that goes here, that connects into the original, what the seat was. They'd have done some welding this seat on, which happened a lot because the Milsco seats, the shock in them would go bad and people would do that. Other notable differences would be, I guess the main one being is the steering. So from the 1970 models, they went to the external steering cylinder. Was here, and that was a better way of steering the tractor. They also did the same thing on the Jetstar 3s from 1970, and they included the frame rails on the Jetstars in 70 and then put on the external steering cylinders. So in my assessment of this tractor so far, what I can say is it appears at some point in time there was a fire. If you see how the paint is kind of gone from the back side here, from the air box, from this side of the valve cover, on the back side of the air cleaner pipe there. I was kind of looking at it, I'm like, why is that stuff so rusty? And then this side, how only a little bit of the valve cover has. All I can figure is there was a fire at some point in time underneath the hood, which got hot, and then I looked at the underside of the tin work, which is in the barn, and sure enough, it's rusty there, just in this area mostly. If you come back underneath like the gas tank and that, it's not that way. So they had a fire, but since then it looks like they've done because it's got the rubber hoses there and all, things that would have melted away have been replaced. So I'm gonna guess it ran after that, or they were trying to get it running after that. The wire harness, the way that they have it taped up, I'm gonna guess they had to run new wires. So I'm not exactly sure why, and he wasn't sure why it was not running currently, but the motor is free, so that's going to be a mystery I'm going to have to figure out as I get into this. The clutch pedal's about locked up. I can barely move it. The brake on this side was dragging really bad, so I had to loosen up the 3 bolts on there, and when I did that, immediately I felt the tractor move. So that brake is dragging in there. Climb up. So it looks like they've done a replacement gauge there, and that would have been temperature. Showing 3,212 hours on it. I don't know that the tach is working. toolbox is in nice shape. That fender on that side got smashed at some point. Walk around back here. Obviously something hit it pretty hard. So I have to make a determination whether or not I want to try to fix that, or we'll look for another set of fenders. I haven't even... Ooh. Yeah, not good. That's the first I think I've messed with the PTO, and it made a bad noise. And I've been in to this later style. I think from what I just heard there, I'm gonna have to pull off the whole hydraulic unit here and get that plate and get in there and see, because I'm gonna guess with the water and in there and all, I'm not sure, but that's probably gonna be a mess. Obviously this plate took a hit at some point. It's bent. For some reason they added this pipe on the hydraulics. I'm not exactly sure for that. That should just be a plug there to drain your hydraulics out. The bottom of the battery box is there in I guess what's left of it's all rust. Yesterday I took some time and drained the calcium out of the wheels. They're not rotted very badly, but they definitely, I needed to get that calcium out, and if nothing else, just to move it around for when I get to work on it. It's got 7.5/16 tires on the front, which would not have been stock. The tin work that's in the barn is in fairly good shape. It won't be too bad to work with. The torque snaps okay, so I think hopefully it's going to be all right. I did notice that and I'm going to mess up because I've just mind blanked on but this is the transformer for the lights. It's obviously been cut and it's cracked, so that's not going to be any good. Sediment bowl has gone off of the bottom of the fuel tank. I'm sure it's going to be a carburetor rebuild. There was kind of a moss growing on this whole thing, and I got a bunch of that off. Front nose piece up here has taken a couple hits, which sometimes we can straighten those pretty good. And there's a slight bend to that tie rod. Easily fixed. It's set a little bit wide. I wanted to take a smaller trailer to go get this, but it's set too wide, so I had to take the deck over. This steering line is gone. They replaced it with a rubber line, but it should be a steel line like this, so I can make another one of those. It did come with another water pump. I'm not sure, it's a new water pump in the box. I'm not sure if this one is bad or if that was just a precaution. So that's kind of where I am. The wiring's a mess. It doesn't have a light switch in it. It just has a toggle, so I'm not sure why that is. And it's missing like the warning light off of this fender and different things. So this one will be a full project. This one I am probably going to do a long series on the restoration of this, because although as rough as this one is, because it is serial number 1, I think it's worth well, I guess not serial number 1, the first gas one made in 1970 of the last 109 ones. I think the first one and the last one of that year of any of the 302s they made would be very, very desirable, just because to those of us that love 302s, because that was the last of the run. And obviously of the propanes and the diesels, there weren't many made, and the gas at 109 and 70, that's not a whole lot either. But I think that just makes this one a little bit more unique and worth doing. So it's going to get mothballed for the summer, although this is just the beginning of April. I've got that 302 propane sitting in inside that I got to get finished, because I definitely want to take it to shows this summer, and I got some other projects going on, so this one can wait until I have time. But just wanted to share it with everyone, those you guys that are 302 lovers like I am, or just Moline lovers in general. It's good to find these tractors and bring them back, and you know, keep the heritage going on, especially on these models when it was the last years that they were you know, they made them, because it wasn't shortly thereafter. You know, in 71 all of the small models were gone. 670, 302 Jetstars on down, they were done making those. And then they were making the 950s and the 1050s, and they went on to the Moline Oliver based ones and the 1355s and the 955s, and then White took over. So this is kind of the end of the era. And you know, at my age, when I was growing up, this is what I remember. You know, I was I'm at that age where I'm in my early 50s, and these are the ones that I remember the most. So I guess that's why I have more an affinity for these than I do the letter tractors. So I'm just kind of rambling, I guess, about this, but I'm excited. As rough as this thing looks, I know what it can look like, and any of you that have seen my restored tractors know that this one will look like better than new when I'm done. Hopefully I don't get into too much on this one. It's always that danger of how much you got to put into it to make it look good again. But this is where we're at on this 1970 302 gasoline, and we'll keep you updated. It's going to sit for a while, but when I get started on it, I'll show you the whole process of mechanically getting it sound, and then we'll go through the complete process that I'll do to make it look nice again. My whole process I do when I get ready to paint one and go that route. So there you go, and thanks everybody for watching, and please like and subscribe. I had a nice call from a guy yesterday who got my number from one of the videos, and he really it's just nice to meet people on the phone and talk to him about Moline tractors and try to help him with a couple questions he had. So I'll do what I can do to help people, and I hope people enjoy watching these.